Good evening friends, my name is Neeraj Bharadkar and today we will see the difference between optical image stabilization and electronic image stabilization. So when stabilization is needed, so whenever there is a situation in which we have to take a photo and the situations are like our hands are shaky, or when we are shooting a video while walking, there the shaking comes. So in image stabilization, what is done, this shaking is compensated and the video or the photo, the output is a stabilized image. So there are two types of stabilization. One is optical image stabilization and second one is electronic image stabilization. First one, electronic image stabilization. So what is done in electronic image stabilization? In electronic image stabilization, first thing, the stabilization is done with the help of purely electric, we can say electric circuit or electronic based stabilization is done in electronic image stabilization. So what happens in this? So whenever your image reaches the camera, there is a detector CCD, charge coupled detector. So this detector is on your camera. So whenever an image approaches this detector, the detector does one thing is, whenever your image moves to the left side, the camera, the detector sends a message to the camera to move to the right side, and when your image moves to the right side, the camera will send the message to the detector to move to the left side. So what will happen in this situation? There will be a, we can say, compensation of the shaking and the image will be stabilized from the both the ways, and this stabilized image is sent to your processor. Now in electronic image stabilization, all the processing is done when your image hits the CCD, that is charge coupled detector. When your image hits the charge coupled detector, all these processes are done after the image hits the charge coupled detector. Now second type of image stabilization is optical image stabilization. So the working of the optical image stabilization is same as that of the electronic image stabilization. The output is same, only the difference is in electronic image stabilization, the processing of the image is done when the image hits the CCD, that is charge coupled detector, and in optical image stabilization, all this image processing is done before the image hits the charge coupled detector. So how it is done? So before the image hits the charge coupled detector, there is a paired prism present in front of the charge coupled detector. So what does the paired prism does? So everyone knows the mechanism of the prism, that it concentrates a light through a single path. This is the mechanism of the prism. So in optical image stabilization, there are two prisms between which a liquid is filled. So how this prism works? So whenever there are two prisms, so one prism will move vertically and next prism will move horizontally. So in this optical image stabilization, actually there is a movement of the camera module in all the four directions. So when your image moves toward the left side, the prism which is fixed horizontally, it will move to the right side, and the prism which is fixed vertically, it will move to the upside and the downside. So the total output in optical image stabilization is, your prism lets the movement of your prism aperture in all the four directions, and the image stabilization is done in all the four directions, so that we can say stabilized image reaches to your camera. So the main difference between electronic image stabilization and the optical image stabilization is, first one, in electronic image stabilization, the image stabilization is done after the image hits the CCD, and in optical image stabilization, the image stabilization is done when the image before the image reaches the CCD. Second difference is, in electronic image stabilization, there is no movement of the camera aperture whereas in optical image stabilization, there is a pure movement of the camera aperture. So according to me, which one is better? So according to me, electronic image stabilization is more better, and as it is electronic based, it is more fast as compared to the optical image stabilization. But in the second situation, according to me, in the second point, the optical image stabilization here wins the race, because the optical image stabilization is done in all the four directions. So when the image is stabilized in all the four directions, we can say a very stabilized image reaches to your processor and a stabilized image is formed as compared to the electronic image stabilization. So according to me, optical image stabilization is best than electronic image stabilization, but it is we can say it is good to have either of both rather than having nothing. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe the channel, and if you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe my channel for more like these videos. Thank you.